put out the 20 most dominant athletes and 20 most dominant teams in the last 20 years of the mag, using metrics designed by senior writer Pete Keating. There will be a primetime special on this, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, so set your DVRs. Here is your top 5. Let's do it. We got Tiger Woods at number 1, followed by LeBron James and Peyton Manning. Floyd Mayweather comes in the 8th spot. Usain Bolt is 10. Here's 11 through 20. Serena Williams is 12. Barry Bonds, 17. Tom Brady is 20. Those are the 20 most dominant athletes in the last 20 years. Speaking of dominating, we bring in Will Kane right now. Will, how we doing?
Right. That's right. That was going to be my line. Speaking of dominating.
I don't know why the hell you would mention dominance and Will Kane in the same breath. That might mandate an automatic suspension, Molly. That might mandate an automatic suspension. Please.
Oh, and I was going to start with
don't
you.
worry.
And by the way, Will Kane, where the hell is your tie? Where is your tie? Who do you think you are? Where's your tie?
Not very dominant look, Will.
Keep asking.
The answer is, no, I dominated that tie right out of here. That's what happened. That tie was on me, and I just dominated.
That's not a dominant.
It just left.
Oh, gosh.
You guys should know something
Fashion
about
police, can we settle down and answer the question? Stephen A., who's your top 3?
Well, first of all, I'm going to go from 3 to 1, okay?
Okay.
We're going to go from 3 to 1. Number 3 on the list, Max Kellerman, you'll appreciate this, Floyd Money Mayweather, okay? 50-0, even though I consider it 49-0 because I didn't consider Conor McGregor a boxing match. I'm sorry. But 49-0, you want to call it 50-0, taking control of his own career, running his own show, and generating in excess of $1 billion for himself along the way. I mean, that's just pure business brilliance. Give him, Al Heyman, Leonard Ellaby, all the credit in the world. We can't ignore the fact that the man is undefeated, unblemished in a pugilistic sport for his entire career. We cannot ignore that. That's number 3. Number 2 on the list would be Tiger Woods. Because Tiger Woods with the 14 majors, we all know how dominant he was. There were 79 or 80 PGA Tour titles. I mean, the 14 majors, not to mention the reducing and demoralizing the competition in the petrified puppies for a vast majority of the height of his career, if not the entire height of his career. We can't ignore that level of dominance and how he literally intimidated folks to such a degree they were just petrified to go up against his brother because he was just on another level. He's number 2 and number 1 of all time, for the last 20 years. Easy for me. The great Serena Williams. I mean, how can it get any better? We're going to mention Margaret Court for the Grand Slam titles singles. She's got 24 all time. Serena has 23. But just look at this resume. 7 Wimbledon titles, 7 Australian Open titles, 6 U.S. Open titles, 3 French Open titles. And oh, by the way, she didn't stop there. 6 Wimbledon doubles championships, 4 Australian doubles championship, 2-time U.S. Open doubles champion, 2-time French Open champion. This girl has just transcended eras. Her level of dominance cannot be denied. As far as I'm concerned, the last 20 years, there has been no one more dominant on their respective circuit than Serena Williams. I mean, look, y'all, did she win a title pregnant? Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, we can pull a lot of things out of our hat. There's no man alive that can do that. No man can do that. Okay, the woman won a Grand Slam title pregnant, and won a title. There's nothing to talk about. Serena Williams is number 1 without question.
Well, I see I have to bring all the sophistication to this argument right now. Let me explain how this works. It's a sleight of hand. Tiger Woods, not only it's laughable that he's put 1, it's laughable that he's on the list of the top 1,000. Let me tell you what's going on here. People say, you say athlete, you define golf as a sport, now you have a common denominator and you've leveled the playing field. But there's a hierarchy of athleticism. There's a hierarchy of it. And so the best basketball players in the world are all more dominant athletes. They express themselves by dominating athletically more than all of the golfers, because if golf is a sport, it's on one end of the spectrum. What's that? I'm sorry, I just started talking. Who just said that?
No, keep going. Sorry? Keep going.
Oh, okay, good. So it's on one end of the spectrum. It tests certain athletic abilities. small motor skills, hand-eye coordination, mental determination a certain way, etc., that kind of stuff. Just like cycling, like if people put Lance Armstrong on a list, it tests physical endurance, how fast you can pedal and for how long, and mental endurance and all that stuff. But so does basketball, and then basketball also tests your strength, your agility, you know, how high you can jump, how fast you can run, how dexterous are you, how quickly you can think, and it tests you against others trying to stop you. There's a hierarchy of sports with basketball on the top and golf or something like that on the bottom. So it's ridiculous to compare golfers to basketball players. Therefore, you have to have a weighted average. And by the way, you have to weigh it in other ways too, Stephen A. Roger Federer, it's tough to argue Serena Williams on the record over Roger Federer. I would argue Serena over Federer because if you are a female athlete, the financial incentive to play tennis, that's number one in terms of income potential. So you would think that with the greatest financial incentive, you would get the greatest female athletes in the world playing tennis. That's not the case for men's tennis. There are plenty of sports and opportunities for men to make a lot of money. And so basketball and football and soccer get most of the best athletes, right? That's why I would have Serena on the list. All that said, LeBron James is clearly and by far number one. He plays the most athletic sport, the most athletically, and is by far the best basketball player in the world for going on a decade now. Number two is Serena Williams. In the most competitive female sport, she totally laps the competition. And number three is not Floyd Mayweather, Stephen A., because when they were at their best and their primes overlapped, Roy Jones Jr. was considered by everyone in the world better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, he started getting knocked out later in his career when he was old and he melted back down from heavyweight, lost 25 pounds of lean muscle mass, was never the same again. But in his prime, Roy was the most dominant boxer I've ever seen. 1 LeBron, 2 Serena, 3 Roy Jones.
Okay, Stephen A., we share 2. Max, we share 1. Max, you redefined the rules of the game. That's what you did. You compared athleticism. The point is this. It's not who can go from one sport to the other and dominate each other. It's not who can dominate each other in their respective sports. It's who dominates their sport. And dominate, not athlete. Dominate is the key word. It's not greatest of all time, not greatest over the last 20 years. It's dominate. And for that reason, Roger Federer just missed my list. I would say Roger Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time, but he had to compete against Djokovic and Nadal, who are also great. So it diminished Federer's dominance, but it raises his greatness. So here's my list. Number 3, first of all, like you, Stephen A., I have Tiger. Golf is a sport. It takes athleticism, maybe not as much as basketball, but Tiger dominated golf for well over a decade. His closest competitor, Phil Mickelson, got about a third of his accomplishments in majors and tour victories. Moving on to number 2, it's egregious. And shame on ESPN The Magazine for leaving this off. Michael Phelps is the second most dominant athlete over the last 20 years. I don't know how you include Usain Bolt and not Phelps. I understand their reasoning. It makes no sense. Phelps has 23 gold medals. His contemporaries, the next best, are guys like Lochte. Ryan Lochte, who has 6. He dominated the entire sport for 2 decades, literally 5 Olympic cycles. 4 of them, he got multiple golds every time he swam. Number 1, and we all agree, is Serena. Serena has dominated women's tennis for not 20 years, but the most of the last 20 years. She has lapped the field. It's been whoever her closest competitors were, whether that was her sister Venus or Maria Sharapova, they weren't even close to what Serena has been. The key here, guys, is dominance. How much were you above, head, shoulders, everything, your closest competitors? And
but
those
the
3
quality
were
of
far
the
above anyone
matters
that came up close to him.
The quality of the competition matters, too. For example, Babe Ruth out-homered every other American League club in 1927. You know why? League wasn't that good back then. Not the same accomplishment, at the plate as Barry Bonds, however he did it, doing what he did when he hit his 73 home runs. So who you're competing against counts. I totally agree with about Michael Phelps. Phelps would be my 4, actually, and then probably Federer my 5. I agree with you there. But who you're competing against does matter. And LeBron James is competing against the best in the world. It's hardly an exaggeration to say everyone on earth who can play in the NBA is playing in the NBA. The same cannot be said for the PGA Tour. Sorry.
Well, we're going to commercial break.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break.
Messed up. Max done messed up. I got him now. I
I
can't
don't
wait
know
till
how
we get back
nobody
to
mentioned that Brady is 20 and Peyton is 3, but we'll get into that. We have more on this when we come back. And
Ridiculous.
Also, LeBron
Ridiculous.
may be 33 years old, but he's playing like he's 23. Don't miss what our guys think when LeBron will finally forfeit the title of best in the world.